What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Acting Like an Actor. I'm your host, Sophie Jordan Collins, and this week we have actress, singer, dancer, director, and producer Tori Kay, also known as TK. TK quite literally does it all. She's been performing since she was a kid, touring with Kidz Bop and doing tons of commercials. She then moved into television and film, working on shows like Cheerleaders and OMG, and starring in films such as Lifetime's Daughters Deceit. She also has a full-blown music career where she writes and performs all of the time. She's known for her extremely performative shows that have a ton of just emotion and killer dance moves, and she talks to us about all of that. Oh, and then in addition to all of this, she also has a full-time job and does her own content creation. We chat about how she balances all of her creative endeavors, building a strong mindset and creative comparison. If you're an actor and you have a billion other passions, this episode is for you. If you could use a stronger mindset, all of us, this episode is for you. Let's go.
Are you rich?
Are you famous?
What have you been on?
I don't really recognize you, and neither does my mom.
Can you laugh?
Can you cry on command?
I mean, you said you were an actor, man.
What's your backup plan? Is it shattered?
Dude, I'm just acting like an actor.
Yeah, so hello everybody.
Deep dive.
I did. So we're gonna start off. My first segment is called Irritating Icebreakers.
Okay.
Is that cool? So we'll
Yeah.
start with, three little, just random
All right.
questions.
Yeah, I saw you did this with other people. I should have prepared myself.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, oh, she did that, and I made a note to prepare myself, and then I didn't.
You did. Oh, love it. That's good. That'll be good for us.
Okay.
Who was your childhood actor crush?
Ooh, The Rock.
Really?
Yeah, people always
Okay.
get shocked by that. The Rock has always been my celebrity crush, like
Love it.
to this day.
Okay.
I don't know what I would do if I met The Rock in person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love.
Since I was
Okay.
little, The Rock, which I feel like most people would say like Zac Efron, or is that yours?
Yeah,
Like Zac
that's-
Efron.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Zac Efron.
No, mine's The Rock.
The
So
Rock,
there you go.
okay. She looks a man,
Look at
even
him.
little Tori. Love it. Yay.
You always ask me, and I have no explanation.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten for breakfast?
Ever eaten for breakfast?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, weirdest. I feel like I've had like a pickle for breakfast,
Okay.
which probably isn't like the most bizarre thing, but it's just not something that I would think is a breakfast food.
Right, yeah.
So maybe that. Like, I'm not a huge breakfast person.
Okay.
I'm usually like a quick smoothie before a workout, or like protein bar or
Okay.
yogurt. So I really don't get crazy
Okay,
at all.
no, I
but
love
I
that.
think I definitely have had like a little pickle just to put something in my stomach before the day.
Okay, hey girl,
I don't
hey.
know.
Love it. What was your first job? Do you remember?
Probably acting
Yeah.
of some sort. Yeah. I think actually one of my first ones is either, I'm from Texas, so it's a short film in Texas that I did, or it was a Mazio's pizza commercial
Okay.
that I did, and I actually had to rap for it, which was really funny.
Love.
So I think that was one of my first jobs. The only thing I really remember are my acting jobs. So if I did
Okay.
anything before that,
You blacked it out.
yeah, I blocked it
That's
out. I
fine.
don't really know.
Dissociation.
But from the first, literally. That's a lot of my life I
Mhm.
detach. So I think that's the first like memory I have was like, yo, mom, what's for dinner? It was like our
Okay.
yeah, I still remember it. That's a weird thing about me. Every script, most of my scripts that I've memorized, especially if it's like a sing-songy thing, I have it's in
you
here
forever.
forever. So I have the
All
entire
right.
Mazio's pizza commercial that I did
Love
probably
it.
when I was about 8 or 9.
That's
in
like
my
a
head
blessing
still.
and a curse, I feel like.
I kind of love it though. It's like a weird party trick too.
It is,
Like I used to do
yeah.
pageants when I was younger, and I
Okay.
can still state my personal introduction.
Can
like,
you give it to us?
oh my god.
Just kidding.
I did it the other day, and everyone was like, I don't know if you should be able to do that. But it's like, so, as a 9-year-old fashionista who dances, cheers, plays the piano, and leads kids' church, I wear a lot of different shoes. It goes on for like 3 minutes.
Love it. Okay.
But I literally know the whole thing. It's so weird. My brain operates in weird ways.
No, I love it. Okay, that's a good transition to my next question is always like, how did you get here? Can you tell us
Yeah.
your story? And Tori was basically like a little child star, so I'm excited. Can you tell us how you just fell into the industry and how if you've
Yeah.
always loved performing? How
It really started as like one of those activities my mom put me in that
Okay.
ended up sticking for 20 years.
Yeah.
So my mom put me into dance when I was like 2.
Okay.
Like I was doing little recitals in my little tutus, and it stuck for me. Like I think my family noticed literally from that young, like 2 or 3, like, oh, she might want to do something on stage or in some kind of like performative aspect. And then from there, I really just like, as I got older, fell into all the arts, like musical theater, acting, on camera acting, did voiceover, I did singing, I did all the things. I played piano, I even did cheer and gymnastics. Like anything that was like performative, I really fell into, and including like songwriting. I've tried so many instruments from drums to guitar. None of them stuck. Piano's the only thing that I'm actually good at. So I really think I've tried everything in the industry. I tried silks. Like there were so many different things I did growing up. And then it really stuck for me when I started to get acting jobs. Like I got my first acting agent, and that was the first thing where I was like, oh, I'm taking a step into like making this my future career. Because other things, it was like really hard to like put out my own music when I was that young, because I didn't really have anything to write about. So like by 7 or 8, I was doing, you know, acting commercials like the Mario's Pizza and little short films here and there. I think I did like a short film for a church like 3 or 4 times. Like they just kept hiring me. And yeah, I that's where a lot of my friends, like, and you just kind of create a community. So it's kind of what I fell into. And then, you know, as I've gotten older, I just really took it more and more seriously. So I really haven't drifted from that path that I created for myself since I was 2, which is really weird. But I feel like I don't like saying I'm a child star, but like as a child creative, I have never branched out of that creativity, and it's kind of, I just like started to try to find ways to make money from it, you know, and like sustain my life from it and do it in a adult professional sense. So it's been interesting now, like growing up, I, like you mentioned earlier, I was like a swing for Kidz Bop, and I've been an understudy. I went on tour with Kidz Bop. I did 3 or 4 stops with them. The kids are so talented. And I still know them to this day. They're killing it. One of them's on Broadway. Like 2 of them are incredible artists that like produce their own music. I'm just so obsessed with all of them, and like everybody that I've been so inspired by, especially my peers throughout the years, that I just kind of always stuck. So that's kind of, and then I moved out to LA 6 years ago, and I'm still here. So yeah, what I started out when I was 2, it's really branched into something now that I'm 22, 20 years later. Same thing, just older.
No, I love that. That's such a blessing too, that you got into the creative arts as a young child, and that you realized like you loved it, and you weren't one of those people who like started and then was like, oh, got scared, like maybe I should go to college and like try something else, but you realized like, no, this is what I love, and I'm gonna pursue that. So you were in Texas. So, and
I did try sports. Like I was on a soccer team during all of this. Like I think my parents really tried to make me so busy. So now when I'm super busy, it's not that like extreme to me, because I had I was very blessed with the fact that I had older brothers, and I was the youngest and the only girl, but like my parents were like, you're literally going to do everything, and I did. So now that I'm older, I'm like, I have so many things that I've like dabbled in. So like if you told me to go jump on a silk tomorrow, I probably could somewhat figure it out. I wouldn't be amazing at it, but give me a couple classes and I might figure it out. So it also taught me to be very versatile. So I was very blessed with that growing up, especially back home in Texas. Like it really set me up for success.
I think you've had such a variety of life experiences at such a young age, which is a blessing too. We were talking beforehand how I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were 22. Not that she looks older, but just she's done so much that I was like, that's amazing. But you're right, you've just dabbled in so much since then. So I'm curious, you moved from Texas to LA at 18. Correct.
Yes.
And did you move
16.
Here? Oh, 16.
Yeah.
Okay. Did your mom come with you?
Did I do the math wrong? Oh yeah, because I'm 22. Yeah.
Oh,
16.
that is. Okay, you're right. 16.
Yes, my parents actually got divorced. It's like a whole sob story. What is it called? Like your villain or origin story. Origin story. That would be my parents got divorced, and that was like my villain origin story. That's what that would be considered. You know, that sob story to where you are now. Although I believe I'm a nice person, so not the villain part, but the origin story.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like the best way to kind of really talk about those 3 years from 13 to 16, and then I moved out here when I was 16 with my mom. And so she's still out here. She's married.
Oh, cool. Love.
She's married. Love him. Love my stepdad, and we've kind of just like built a life for ourselves here.
So were you the reason that she decided to move out here though? Was it for your like creative endeavors, or do you think y'all would have done that no matter what?
You know, we get asked that a lot, and I think when we first moved out here, I think I was so determined to come out here that she really thought like, okay, this is where we need to be for her. But as I think we've both developed here as individual people, as mother and daughter, but also as individual people, we also realized like, no, this is just the place for us. Like I think outside of the industry, we would have been here. And it really is just like, she loves California, I love California, and I really think we came out here a couple times like growing up, and we always loved it, and I always felt a weird sense of like home here. That I'd never felt in Texas. Like Texas feels like my roots, like my childhood friends and my family's still there, but out here it just always felt like a sense of oh, people are like me out here. And I think my mom kind of felt that way too. So maybe the industry, but as time has gone by, I feel like it's way bigger than that.
Yeah. I'm curious in terms of music, because I feel like that's kind of the thing you're most known for, TK.
I guess.
Yeah, it's like your music lately. So how did that come to fruition when you were in LA? I don't even really know how music works, to be honest. Do you guys have like an agent? Do you have to do your own thing? Are you the one that comes up with concepts for your show?
Yeah.
How does all of it? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like all in your hands with music.
Yeah, and I definitely think when I was younger, it was primarily acting.
Oh,
like
okay.
at one point, I had an acting agency in Texas, New York, and LA, and I also auditioned for Broadway at one point.
Was that your first love, you would say, is
Oh,
acting?
yeah.
Okay, love.
Acting, I think dance was, but I never really considered taking it professionally. Like, I think I always loved it. And I always got along really well with dancers. Like, a lot of my friends were dancers. But I definitely think from the first thing that I pictured as a career was acting.
Wow,
like I was like, this is gonna be what I do. So I think that's why so quickly I had 3 acting agencies before I ever had my first dance agency.
Oh wow.
And an acting manager. So when I first moved out to LA, it was full blown acting.
Okay.
And
were you singing at all at the time?
I was. I had
Okay.
always been dancing and singing.
Okay.
And I was always creating music, but I think I don't know why in my head I just now branched from this idea, but like I always pictured myself like becoming, like getting my start or my fame and having my big like break through an acting show, like a show or a movie or something like that, and then kind of taking off as an artist. I don't know why I always pictured that. It might be because like I watched Disney Channel so much growing up, and that's kind of like what I saw Demi Lovato and like Zendaya and Selena Gomez, all them do. And I think especially in Texas, you're kind of bred to like think that way. So I think it was just now that I kind of branched off of that idea, because I kind of like, I think because that was the first thing that I really tried to pursue, I had burnout with it.
Okay.
So I definitely experienced burnout, and I was like, I think this is my time to switch to music and really like, that's what's hard is when you have like singing, dancing, and acting. I was always told I needed to pick one. And I think what I kind of started to develop in like literally the past year, like 2023 was this for me, was realizing I can do all of them in one. So like I now look at my music, like every song that I write, I think of it as a character. So like literally I have like different words and like personas for each song I write. And when I go in the studio, like I think I just put my acting hat on more than I sometimes even put my music hat on. So it's a really interesting like blend of like skills and like hats that I put on to do different things. So I think being taught, and I'm sure like you've experienced this too, like you're told in the entertainment industry you have to pick one thing, and who are you and who are you branded by, and like what do we know you for, and like what's your thing, what makes you different,
what do you do?
Exactly. And it's like you have to have the I'm an actor or like I'm a singer.
Exactly.
So I think I always struggle with that, because I was like, well, I sing, but like I also do this and and like I act, but like you should really listen to my music. Like I always struggled with that. So now my performances, and especially my music videos, I really try to like put on a character and really develop like a script with it. So it kind of is flown into one thing.
No, I love that. You've like created your own vibe, as opposed to like
you.
What do you do? It's like, no, I'm just totally,
it took me a long time. It took me a long time. But music is different in that sense. Like acting, I definitely took seriously. It wasn't until literally a year ago I was like, okay, like I still do acting auditions. I still like. You
have an agent in
well, I don't have an agent right now, because I like don't feel like I have the time to actively go on auditions like that. The way that I feel like an agency would expect me to. But like I take acting classes. I'm literally like I was in an improv group last week. Like I'm actually thinking about being part of an improv group and like doing shows with them. So I'm definitely still majorly in acting. I just think that for me it was easiest to really like identify what I wanted to do was music.
Yeah, and I think too there is a beauty in, as annoying as it is for people to be like, what do you do, and to like pick one thing, there also is a beauty in really focusing on one area as well. So I think it's cool that you've focused on music, yes, but you've managed to incorporate your other loves into it as well. Which, oh my gosh, go check out her Instagram too, because you're a great dancer. I was like watching you, truly a triple threat.
Thank you. Which that was even a thing too. I was like, at one point I was like, should I do that professionally? And then it all flew into like music too. And I'm like, how would this person who's singing this song move? But then that's the weird part too, is like being a musician who started out as acting. I'm also like, but I'm also that person.
Right. And like
it's not a character, it's me. Like I wrote this song, but now
right.
I'm like doing it. It's so confusing. I still haven't figured it out.
Right.
I don't know if I ever will.
I was gonna say, I think too, like everybody tries to box you into one thing, but like as humans, we're just not one thing.
Yeah.
And most of us have a lot of loves, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting because I'm like, I get asked this all the time, and I'm sure actors do too, because it's like I get asked it in the sense of all the things that I do. Like, who are you and what makes you different? And I'm like, well, I'm a chameleon. That's what I like to say. I'm a chameleon. And they're like, okay, well, that's not a brand. And I'm like, I think a brand is being a chameleon. Like, I think that's for sure. Like, as an actor, you're trained not to just do comedy or drama. You're trained to do everything. Yeah. So, like, I know you have, like, your shtick, but I'm like, why can't your shtick be, like, everything? Like, I don't know. Right. It's been a soul-searching thing for me, for sure. Yeah. And I think, too, it, like, changes with time, too. Like, you go through certain seasons of your life where you love one thing and you don't forever. Like, right now you're in love with music, but who knows, 5 years from now you might decide you want to jump back into the film industry or... Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Do you have any advice for anybody who is similar to you and has a lot of passions and is struggling with balancing them all? It can be stressful. It can be overwhelming. But I think at the end of the day, I got so caught up in what I felt like other people wanted from me and what other people felt like I should be doing. Like, again, for the longest time, I thought I need to get on a TV show to have my big break and then I'll do music. And then I was like, why am I waiting to do music when I could do music now and also act? So I think my biggest advice would be to literally just follow your heart. And sometimes that gets very complicated because your heart can be like so quiet amongst many other things. And I think I've been the happiest because at the end of the day, like, yes, this is a career, but it stems from passion. And many people don't have a career that stems from passion. So it's also a blessing. To like be able to be like, this is what I would do in my life, and I'm genuinely following my heart right now. So a lot of times it can be stressful, but I also have to remind myself that I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do every day, and love what I do every day. So it's a mixture of like making sure you're really protecting your energy and protecting yourself, and at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your time. So do what you want to do. And there's no right or wrong way. Like there's literally no. I'm writing a song right now. It's actually called PEMDAS. Never talked about it before, so this is exciting. Ooh. And I also want your take. Do you know what PEMDAS is? It's like
the math thing.
Yes. So it's like parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, all that. It's like literally you're taught. It's like I guess it's Gen Z because I've talked to some older people about this. I'm like, what is PEMDAS?
Oh, I remember.
So I think it's a newer. Yes. So I think it's a newer form of math that gets you to the right answer, right? So this has kind of been like my way of life, and I'm trying to put it in a song right now. It's not the easiest thing to write. To where I think growing up, especially in math class, like you're taught, like if you do these things, you'll get the right answer. There's no PEMDAS for life. There's literally none. There's no parentheses. There's not, do this first, and then go to the exponents, and then multiply this, and then get the division, and that's the right answer. Like the right answer is just the way you want to live life. There's no correct formula. There's no like trick around it. There's no hack. No one can look at you. You know how you would like go up with your paper and be like, is this the right answer, teacher? And they're like, yeah, you did it right. Or they'd be like, no, sorry, you missed that parentheses. No one's gonna do that. The only person that can do that for you is you. So yeah, I'm writing a song right now all about that, and I actually changed PEMDAS to please excuse my depression, anxiety, stress, because it's all about like the struggle of dealing with your own emotions and just trying to figure out like getting so much anxiety and stressing and the emotions and the roller coaster of just trying to figure out the right thing to do in your life and make the right choices. Just to all we want to do is just be happy.
It's so true, and that's so prevalent in your 20s too. I feel like it's like, what am I supposed to do with my life? Like, what do I do?
And how do I know I'm making the right choices?
How
do I know that this is where I should start and that's the answer I'm gonna get? Like sometimes you just like go for it and then you don't know. That's usually how it is. You do have to just go for it and you don't know. And I think so many people waste their 20s trying to figure out like, oh, but if I start this, or oh, if I do this, like I don't know. And I'm like, you just have to start and then like fix the mistakes along the way, because there's gonna be problems that come up that you can't even plan for. And if you sit there and try to figure it out, you're gonna be sitting with your PEMDAS forever. Like you're never gonna get through. And life's not black and white, it's very much gray, so you just have to like go with the flow. And there's not just one formula for everyone. Like what's weird is that you're taught in math class, like you're taught this formula that everyone does and you all get the right answer if you do it correctly. Life doesn't work like that, because everyone, like you said, has their own set of problems, their own set of skills, and their own set of benefits, and their own set of consequences, and it's just like, so that's really funny. That's one of the songs I'm attempting to write right now. So that would be my advice.
I'm excited for
to sum it all up, yeah, do what you will with all that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's so helpful. It's especially true in our industry, be it music, acting, whatever. Like, everybody's, you know, journey on how they got to be a star, whatever it is like so different. Whatever that means, anyway.
Whatever that means to anybody being a star. I don't know.
Okay, can you talk to us about the, like, Tori versus TK essence that you have going on, and, like, how that came to fruition, how you feel like that helps you? Because I feel like that is kind of nice, I can imagine, as a performer, especially as an actor, too, to know, like, I'm going from, because if you were, you know, the big, bold TK all the time, it might be a lot.
Yeah, one, I also think, like, specifically relating to the acting world and, like, talking with actors and things like that, that's exactly where it stems from. Like, it's also, I also relate it back to, like, the drag world. Like, a drag persona is definitely what I look at it as. Like, if you were doing a script right now and walking around as that person all the time, yeah, that's cool because you'll develop that character, but you're not developing you. Like, it is two in the same, but it's not. Like, obviously, you're going to bring something to a character that somebody else doesn't. But at the end of the day, that's the character. Yeah. And also, you're you. So it's, like, trying to distinguish. I feel like it literally is like I'm on a movie set, but it's my whole life. Like, if Zac Efron's playing this specific character, and like, for example, the Joker, like, the amount of, like, method acting that goes into being the Joker and, like, trying to develop that character, I feel like that's the same amount of, like, love and care that I've developed into being TK. So yeah, I call myself a lot of different things. Some people think it's kooky, and it definitely is. If I wasn't me, I would think it's quirky too. But since it works for my brain, that's the way it works for my brain. I was Tori growing up. Like, Tori's my name. And then people, like, always just started calling me TK. And I don't know why, but I always thought I felt cool when people called me TK. Like, when people call you by your nickname, usually you're like, if it's a good nickname, you're like, yeah, like, this is what I want to introduce myself as. So I always thought of it as, like, a cooler persona than me. Like, when people call me TK, I'm like, I felt like that name was too cool for me. Like, I always felt like Tori, like, I was just a little girl from Texas, and I felt TK was, like, so cool. I don't know why. Maybe it's not cool to anybody else. To me, I always thought it was a cool nickname. It's cool. And then I developed this, like, professional persona that I think developed into a lot of, like, my acting career and, like, job interviews and, like, advertising, which I'm sure we'll talk about because that's how we connected, weirdly enough. Advertising world, I went by Tori Kay. So that was, like, more like my professional. Like, that's how I kind of presented myself in pageants that I did growing up and, like, dance competitions and acting interviews. Like, every single, like, slate I would do, I'd like, hi, I'm Tori Kay. Like, I would always say Tori Kay. So my person was Tori. My acting was Tori Kay. Like, my professional sense was Tori Kay. And then I kind of took that and ran with it with music because I thought that was, like, oh, this is what people are going to, like, catch on to. And then I just always felt like my music side was cool. And so it wasn't until 3 years ago I switched it to TK. So then it got a little bit more complicated because then TK on her own has a lot of personalities because then every single song she writes is a different personality. Like you said, so I have Tori Kay, TK, and then all the personalities that TK has created in every visual she does. And it's weird because this is where it gets weird because I talk about she, like, it's a different person. That's where it gets a little weird. I'm working on it with my therapist. So then it's like those become a whole different persona within itself. And there's just different aspects. Like, some people call me T. It's kind of like a weird, like, people call you different nicknames. And that's just kind of, I don't know why, but I think I really took those nicknames and ran too far with them because they've become people. I love it though, because I think that it's funny, people might look and be like, that's kind of weird, but no, we all do that. It just might be on less of a scale. It's
like,
just not a career.
Funny. Right, exactly.
It's not on your resume.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but it's so true that we all have, like, different sides to our personality and different people bring out different sides of you. So I love that you kind of took that. And
I thought about that today because for sure with you, like, you met me not as TK. You met me as Tori Kay. You didn't meet me as Tori. You met me as Tori Kay. Like, you met me in my professional, weirdly enough, I met her during a UGC advertising shoot where I was directing her, which she slays, by the way, hire her.
Well, she slays directing too, which, can we talk about how she also, like, full on is, like, a corporate girl in the advertising world as well?
That's Tori Kay. Like, she's like corporate, she's like professional, she's very, like, PC. And you definitely met me in my Tori Kay sense.
I did.
And I don't know if you feel that way, but they're very different people. At least I feel like I'm a very different person, so sitting here in front of you today. Like, I feel like TK.
But I think, like, your heart is the same. And that's what's cool. Like, the foundation of Tori Kay, TK
Yes.
is the same, which is what I think is so admirable. It's just different sides to you,
Yeah.
you know?
Because I was getting ready to, and I was like, she hasn't seen me like this, but she's
No.
gone on my Instagram, I'm assuming.
Yes,
So
which is what was
she
so...
probably knows.
Which is what was so fascinating to me as I met you. Yes, as Tori Kay, like super professional and like cute and all the things. And then I followed you on Instagram, and it's funny, as we were chatting, I was like, what do you do? And she was like, oh, I like kind of do music. And I was like,
That's
yeah,
always how I say it, and
everybody.
then I'm like, oh, she's gonna follow me.
No, it's funny, but I'm like thinking in my head, like, well, everybody in LA does music, you
Which
know?
is so
But
true.
then I follow
So
you,
true.
it is, and like acts and whatever.
Very valid.
But then when I followed you, I was like, oh my gosh, like she does music, like she does shows, she's like dancing, throwing on her own things, like literally you have shows all the time in LA. I was like, oh my gosh, like she really does
I do
music, which is so admirable to me that you do that, but you also have like a job as well. So can you talk to us a little bit about that and like why you do the corporate stuff and like if you like it and that kind of thing?
That kind of fell into place because obviously I got that job. I fell into advertising about 3 years ago, so when I was 19. So like moved out here, and I moved out during the pandemic, and obviously during that I was like rent came.
Yes.
Like bills came, you know, you develop. I was in college. I'm taking a break right now, but I definitely am like working to get a degree at the current point. Like I'm getting a degree in communications. And a minor in psychology. So at that time I was like in college. I was like, okay, I need to be full adult Tori Kay. Like Tori Kay needs to turn into adult now. So what is Tori Kay going to do as an adult? Like that was like, because my whole life had been I'd make money acting.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to really help pay bills at all until, you know, I moved out on my own at a normal age and I was ready.
COVID too, that kind of threw us for a loop as well, because it's like I moved out here in 2020 as well when I was 18. We probably moved around the same time, and it's like COVID had already been a thing at that point. So it's like there were even less, even if you did want to act.
It was less jobs, and it was like I felt like a lot of people in that era fell into, especially at the age that we were, it was like, that was one of my first jobs. I didn't even know what a corporate job was. Yeah. And then I fell into it, weirdly enough, through acting. Yeah. So just like you, like, I'm sure, like, you self-submit and things like that and, like, try to find all these UGC jobs because that's what a lot of people started doing during COVID. Yeah. Weirdly enough, it turned into a full-blown career for me. So I started doing UGC stuff from home. Like, that was the easiest thing to make money. I was like, cool, I'm an actress.
You've for sure seen one of her things somewhere.
Oh, I really sure you have. And I try to ignore that at all costs. I get sit my ads all the time. And there's 50% of me that's like, slay, it's probably performing well. And 50% my corporate girly, Tori Kay. And then my TK is like, shoot. So I kind of fell into it. It started as an acting thing. Like I was like, okay, cool. I'll just do it as like a creative outlet to make money.
From home. It's basically what UGC is. I always, when I hear actors like crapping on UGC, I'm like, number one, it's easy money. And number two, it's literally commercial acting.
So is. And I'm like, and you also can't shit on it because it was also so big during COVID. Like that was what everyone was. It's huge.
It's even bigger now. It's not just actors.
Yes.
It's literally like people are graduating high school 18 years old being like, I want to be a UGC creator. I'm like making money from it. Have you seen that? Like,
it's like the new TikToker.
It is.
Because TikToker is like more like up in the air if you're gonna make it. Like UGC is like, this is easy, girly. Like easy. But it's not. But like it is. Yeah. And especially as someone who like grew up being creative, I was like, oh, this is cool. I just need to like do what I'm doing, but like with a little bit of corporate.
Right.
And so I ended up getting a full-time job. That was 9 to 5. Not my gig. Not my thing. I was like, I cannot sit at a desk this long. But I think I'm really thankful for the experience because it was my first job. Like, I had the only jobs that I had in the past, like, on the resume. I was doing my interview for, like, this corporate job, and they were like, so what job experience do I have? I'm like, so did you look up my Mazio's Pizza commercial? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm creative. Like, just give me a shot, you know? And luckily, they had already offered me the job because they had seen my UGC work. So from my shoots at home, they were like, hey, you want to come on full time? And I was like, sure. So I did that for a long time, and then I ended up quitting because I got a remote job. So now I'm working a remote job, which is technically contract, so I can kind of make my own schedule, which is really, really nice.
It seems like she's really supportive of
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. Yeah. I'm like, it's an all-female company, and so it's just like, other than like some editors who are so, so sweet, it's like every meeting I have with my boss, she's like, oh my god, slay. Or she's like, I saw you post the other day. Like, she's just the sweetest. And words of affirmation is, like, the biggest thing, especially if you work in an all-female company and you're doing it the right way with the right person who set up a really good home like work system and network of people, it's all supportive women. It is so sweet. All my coworkers follow me and like swipe up on my story sometimes, and it's just so sweet. I'm like, oh my god, everyone who knows Tori Kay like likes TK, which is not always the case, because TK can be a lot, even for me. I'm like, I don't even blame you if you can't handle her, because she's a lot. So yeah, it's really nice, and obviously it gives me also the freedom to like meet people like you, and also do like, I direct off out of like on set as well. So
oh my gosh, yeah, that's another side thing you do. It's like she has her corporate job, but you're also, she freelance like directs.
No, I freelance directing, I freelance editing, I freelance just shooting, I freelance writing. Just because I
go to her Insta if you want to hire her. I don't know if she'll have time for you, but you can try.
That's the weird thing. I feel like I watched some of your last podcasts and you asked like a lot of like what's the best piece of advice that you had gotten from people, and I was like, definitely my best piece of advice that I had gotten from someone when I first moved to LA was always take an opportunity. It's just something, because I feel like LA is so, I wish people knew in LA it's so right place, right time, right person.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna take this opportunity because I never know who I can meet.
And what it will lead to.
Yes, you never know. That's so LA, that's so the industry. So I think that's why. So yeah, hit me up if you want me to do anything. I think I even said that on my story today. I was like, if you have a podcast, hit me up. Because I'll take any opportunity. I don't care. Like,
yeah, one thing leads to another.
It always does. And if anything, I learned something from it.
Yes.
I've learned I feel like also a lot of what I've learned from advertising has also helped, because obviously being in the industry nowadays and being Gen Z, social media is so important. So also learning the tips and tricks to make people stop and watch a video, because that's literally what advertising is like really honing in on that hook and opening shot on like what's working. Those first 3 seconds of an ad really helps me. Like, I take that skill and I put it into the TikToks I create, or I put it into like my little snippets that I create for my reels. And like, I'll probably, even once I'm starting to create, hopefully, like eventually in music, I'll be consistently making music videos as well for my music. I will be doing that. Because it's the same thing. It's people. People are watching it. People have the same attention span. Yeah. So you can't just like make a music video and make it 5 minutes long and not give them something.
Right. Not make it interesting until 4 minutes.
I'm like, what's so weird is my life in UDC, where I worked with 20 to 30 second videos to try to sell you something, is going to somehow adapt in the same mindset and skill as my hopefully 5 minute long music videos that I conceptualize. You know what I mean? I feel like people should be doing the same thing with movies. I think eventually it'll just be the way that people work.
Yeah, it's true, because our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. So you do have to be interesting,
which is not a good thing, but you know, you have to adapt.
You do, yeah.
And I even felt it, like, for example, I watched the Barbie movie, and there was like one scene, I think it was like the Ken song, where I was like, this is too long. Like, I loved the movie, but there were some parts where I was like, they could have cut this short. Like, people don't have the attention span to sit there and watch a movie anymore, which is really sad, but it's true. It is true.
Even on TikTok, when I'm scrolling, you know how sometimes somebody will be like, I'm going to teach you how to make $10,000, and then they'll be like, hi, my name's Jessica, and I'm a corporate girly, da-da-da, and Jessica starts talking, I know, me too.
Sorry,
when Jessica starts talking about herself, I'm like,
right. Love you, Jessica, I can't do it.
Right, you should have told me right away, girlfriend, like, I'm not waiting.
I wanted that right there.
Right.
Give me the back story later.
Right, exactly. That's so cool, though. I think too about you being so multifaceted. It's funny how even though you do a million things, they all kind of tie together.
It's all the
like
same skill. It's so weird. It's so creepy.
It's
scary, but it's also really nice.
Yeah,
but it's really weird.
It is
because
weird.
people are people. So like, if I'm marketing to people, that is also eventually going to stem into my music, because music is also marketing to people.
Yeah,
I'm not marketing a product anymore. I'm marketing me.
It's true.
In my music. So a lot of the skills that I've taken, I'm like, this is actually, people always say like, oh, how do you like handle a corporate job? I'm like, because weirdly enough, very, very blessed to have a corporate job that I make my income off of, so I can live my life and like keep creating music and do what I do and finance myself and be an independent artist and creative.
Yeah.
But I'm also still learning skills that I can use in my life and in my career outside of that. And I'm obviously meeting people, because also advertising is so creative. I've met so many creative people through it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do random like UGC shoots. I put on my Tori Kay hat and I meet someone like her, and I'm on her podcast as TK. So it's just like,
it's true.
It's weird. It's really such a blessing. Like, sometimes it is scary, because it's a lot for my brain to be able to handle. and compartmentalize,
Yeah.
but it also is so beautiful, and it's just such a blessing that I'm able to do all the things and that they all somehow connect and benefit each other.
Yeah, no, I love
Yeah.
that. I think too, I love that you do have a corporate job that you enjoy, because I think sometimes creatives are like
Oh.
weird about getting a corporate job, or
Oh,
they're
yeah,
like
I love
nervous
mine.
about it and won't like do that. But the thing is, they'll be like financially stressed creative people because they don't want to get a corporate job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, but if you got a corporate job, like there's so much opportunity in LA and just so much opportunity in the world to
I know
make
too
money
many
with like
people
the internet.
that.
Me too, that just like won't get a job and then are
Yeah.
constantly complaining to me about money, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, homegirl,
Mhm.
like just get it, like get a job, like it'll be okay.
Just
It'll take so much
do
pressure.
some UGC shoots.
Right,
I know
yeah,
so many
it'll take so much
actors that are
pressure
like,
off.
I'm not gonna, like, I know so many creatives, and I don't blame them also. Not a corporate job isn't for everyone. I
Right.
find the right corporate job for me,
Right.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, so many people don't want to do UGC shoots because they're like, I'm a creative, I don't want to do UGC. I'm like, do it.
Yeah. No,
Also, I know you're a
literally.
struggling artist, and I feel you.
Yeah.
And you would probably love to have some $250 in
For
your
an
job
hour
for
of your
doing a
time.
30-second shoot. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a
there are
30-second
ways.
video that's going to play on Facebook that you'll probably never see. You could do it.
No, I so
That's
agree.
probably
People
take
make
an
it-
hour of your day.
People make it too weird with the UGC thing. I know they overthink it, and like I have people ask me, well, like what's the usage, and I'm like, okay, maybe don't sign it away in perpetuity, but like also
Yeah.
don't be too weird about it.
Also, I'm
because,
really
like,
not one to talk, honestly, because my face is now, I guess, a good thing. It's good for my job that it's everywhere. But I do get sent my ads by so many people. And sometimes I'm like, is this good for TK? But also, it is good for TK, because TK's making money. TK's able to do what she wants to do because this ad is going everywhere.
No, yeah, it's like exposure too. And also,
Yeah.
I think too, people have some type of way. I have the same thing where people ask me, I did a like factor UGC when I was 19, and they still play
I've
it to
seen
this
that
day.
one.
Yeah, they still play it to this day, but people are like, oh, like it's in perpetuity, and it is. They're like, how do you like do it if it's in perpetuity? Like,
A lot of
isn't that
advertising
going to be
is lying.
embarrassing? I know. Isn't that going to be embarrassing? Like when your acting career like takes off to have that? I'm like, you think when I'm like at a huge place in my acting career, I'm gonna be looking back on a UGC ad I did when I was 19, like stressing about it.
Everyone has things they're ashamed of. I wrote a song called Girl Power when I was 10. And
Right,
you know
exactly.
what? That is way more
I-
shameful and embarrassing to listen to than any ad I've ever created. And I'll
Right.
just put that out there. Think about the first acting job you ever did. Is there a recording of your first self-tape you ever did? I know there's something
Sure.
that actors have done that are embarrassing, and I
Right.
promise you at least you made money off of that ad.
That's I know. That's my
Slay.
thing.
She
Is
was
like
a corporate
whatever.
girly for a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy money.
She's an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
You were just being a boss babe. That was it.
Yeah. Just getting that bag, you know.
But I feel you. It definitely is. You got to protect the brand and the
Yeah, for sure.
professionalism.
Yeah, I've definitely done some UGC that, like, looking back on now, I'm like, I did like an ED product like a year ago, and like now I'm like, and somebody sends it to me, and I was like, okay, that's one maybe I shouldn't have.
I don't know if you ever did that. I did one, and I became the staple girly of like those little supplements that you take that make your vagina smell good.
Oh.
I did those, and those have started to resurface, and I'm getting scared. You know that video of the girl that's like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
That's me every day. I'm like, I really hope I wake up every day and hope nobody sees me talking about some supplements that make my vagina smell good. You know what I mean? But you know, hey,
it's fine. Yeah.
I had to learn my boundaries.
It's true. You live and you learn. You know? we can laugh about it. At least you got your bag.
Or like the butt cream that makes your butt bigger.
Oh, Kimi, yeah.
Mayleys.
Mhm.
I love Mayleys.
Okay,
though.
there's another
I love
one.
Mayleys though.
Yeah, they have good UGC. I do social media management for a brand called Kimi Naturals. That's a butt growth.
Yes.
Cream
I think
as
it just
well.
depends on the script. It depends on what you're comfortable
Yeah.
with. There was just some things that I think I did that were a little too hard that people probably see now, and I'm like, oh
Me
god.
too. At least I got my $200. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. I was making my boss happy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so guys, so you come off as very like confident and you have a strong sense of self. I'm curious, have you always felt like that or no? Like, do you feel like you're a naturally confident person, or is it a skill that you have to work on?
I feel like for me there's different forms of confidence.
Okay.
I definitely am insecure when it comes to some things, but honestly, this is the moment in every interview that I have to give praise to my mom. I really think that my mom is a very confident person, and she does a great job of balancing confident with cocky. So I had a great example of someone who is a bad bitch growing up, who makes shit happen for herself, who is confident with still being kind to others,
Yeah.
and has insecurities but really tries to focus. I feel like a lot of like confidence has to be glass half full. Like the way even you just look at life, you have to look at yourself. Like most of the time when I wake up in the morning, I choose to look at the things that I love about myself rather than the things that I'm not so happy about. with myself. Or like I choose to look at the things that I have succeeded in and the accomplishments I have had rather than the things that I'm not capable of. Where there's also a balance in manifesting. Like I made a vision board with things that I want to get done that I haven't done yet. But I try to look at it in a positive light of like still reflecting on things that I've been able to do and accomplish. So I think a lot of my confidence stems from that. It's a lot of like what I've seen growing up. I've had a very healthy example of confidence growing up. And I think I was really set up for success with my mindset going into the industry. That I really think I've been in a lot of meetings, and I actually just had a meeting, I think it was a couple weeks ago, with some songwriters I was supposed to work with, and they really walked in and told me that I was kind of starting from zero with my sound, and like had a really interesting perspective of me as an artist. And I was like, you know what, like that's part of being a creative, is people are going to have perspectives of you that you don't agree with, that you don't feel like really reflect who you are. And instead of sitting there and being like, oh my god, I can't believe these people feel this way about me, which would have been so easy, I had to sit there and be like, that's okay, you're just not my demographic, and you're not the people that I'm supposed to be working with right now, and I don't think you're the people that are really going to resonate with me. And it took me a long way to get there. Like, I had a long conversation with my therapist about it.
No, I'm sure. Even when you said that made me like, if somebody were to say that to me, like...
There's been a lot of people who invalidate me, or even people telling me, like we discussed earlier, like, you need to pick one thing. It's like, it's very easy to become insecure and really second guess yourself. So I think a lot of self-work, it has a lot to do with how I was raised and the mentality I grew up being like crafted with that. I think weirdly enough, a lot of my confidence comes from starting this since I was a child. Because a lot of what I also, like, if people say something about me, I'm like, yeah, but I've been doing this since I was 2, and I love it, and I'm out here and I'm thriving. So hey, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But honestly, I feel like I'm a pretty confident person. But it just like everyone, it's an everyday choice.
I do love what you said though about focusing on the good. Like you said, when these insecurities come up, you just don't pay attention to them, and you choose to focus on the good, because I think that's so real. As human beings, we're all gonna have insecurities. But you're right, you can't sit there and dwell on them. Especially, I always say, if it's something you can change, then like change it. For example, if you're like unhappy with your body, there are things you can do to change that. But if it's like something you can't change, you know, like you have like a scar or something that you don't like and you can't change it, you have to learn to accept it. So it's like I think I'm very blessed, especially like speaking to other women specifically who are my age, and realizing like how pronounced insecurities can affect your mental health on a daily basis. I'm very thankful for how my mom raised me, on like how I look at my body every single day and how I look at myself every single day. And like one of my friends also, she has a son and he's 3, and like I also see how his confidence, like, because I don't have kids and I'm also the youngest child, and none of my siblings have kids yet, so like I've really seen that, like it clicks for me that I'm like, oh my god, I developed this confidence because of how I was raised, because I'm watching him develop such a bold personality and a confident personality, and he's just who he is. But also like my friend has raised him to be that way, and has like applauded everything he's done. And I really think my mom has always been my number one supporter. So a lot of times I'm like, it is a joke that I make all the time. I'm like, you don't like me, my mama does, so whatever. Like it really is like such a support system, and I think that's so important in this industry, because not a lot of people will support you or understand what you're doing, and that's okay. But it could be real hard on your sense of self, for sure. No, I'm sure. That's incredible though that you had your mom to back you up, especially because doing this industry at such a young age, I don't know that you would have been able to do it without that support system.
I know I wouldn't have been able to do it, for sure. I know I wouldn't have been able to. I would not have had the backbone that I have, for sure.
Okay, so you've kind of, I feel like, developed a really strong personal brand. At least, like, looking through your Instagram, like, I just feel like you look at your stuff and you just kind of know who you are. So I'm curious, how did you figure out the brand that you wanted to give off to the world?
Yeah, I really...
Was it intentional, or did it just kind of happen?
It really just kind of happened.
Okay, in terms of the, like, fun colors and the way you do your shows, I just feel like you look
that just happened. Okay, that just happened. I think some of it did become intentional, though, because now when I, like, get the sense of wanting to wear something that's a little bit more toned down, I'm like, nah, let's go with the color. That's something TK would wear. Like, now that I'm, like... I think I kind of am a chameleon. Like, sometimes I do strictly choose things. I also really play with color a lot. And I also, again, like, TK's a lot, and so she has a lot of different personas, and with those personas, I also see color. Like, so for example, my newest music album, See the Vision, every single song has a color in my brain.
Love it.
LBB was, like, silver and black, because it literally stands for Little Blonde Bitch. Like, I had the blonde hair, so these are clip-in extensions, so all the extensions you see me have in the different colored tips, that's extension, so I'm easily able to switch them out. So Lil Blonde Bitch was full blonde girl, like she just felt like she was the shit. She was in club partying like with her girls. MMM is like a full rave song. It's like fun. It's EDM. It's so fun. That screams rainbow. It's just all rainbow. Like every time I perform it, I change out my hair color just because I like want to scream color and like having so much fun. With Peg, which is Psycho Ex-Girlfriend, that's my rock song.
Okay, yes.
She's cray cray.
No, I watched
she's
that
bad
one.
shit.
I liked that one.
She's batshit, and she's everything that I wish I would have said to my ex, but I didn't. And she's like fully probably has murdered 5 people. In my brain, she has. She's crazy.
No, I really liked that song, and I think too, like just as women, you guys should go check out that song. If you have a bad experience with an ex, you'll watch that and feel therapeutic. Yeah, no, I was just thinking you actually had like an outlet to let out all the things that all of us think, but you know.
But I feel like it really that was like definitely the representation of like music and acting colliding, because that's fully like I really tapped into like a psychotic character. I was like, if someone wrote a script of a psycho girlfriend who wanted to kill her ex, this is what she would look like, and this is how she would sing. But also like the rock persona of it, which I love. And so she was red, like full fiery red, like goth almost. And then I have another song coming out probably in the next month. It's called When and Where, and that's R&B. And that I just see like water. Like it's just like, it's a very like sensual song. Like it's very just like loving. It's compassionate. It's a little sexy and explicit. And that song I just like see water. I see blue. I see like liquid. I see clear. Like that's kind of what I see. And it's just like gorgeous. And then PEMDAS is obviously, I just see like dark colors, and I see a lot of like math problems, and I see a lot of like emotion and really vulnerable. I see more Tori in that song of just like my childhood heart. And really like trying to figure out what I want to do with it. So yeah, I feel like a lot of that's kind of where the brand comes from. It comes from
it's like you and all aspects of you again, really the different colors of who you are. And,
it's me in all the forms. And sometimes I take them to the extreme to where they do become characters. Like Peg is in all of us. The Psycho Ex-Girlfriend is in all of us. I know it is. The crazy batshit, I'm gonna like put like I'm gonna key your car, you know. But I really just try to take it to the extreme of like where could this girl go? Which is what I think people do with characters. So I don't know. I think my brand just kind of fell through me doing that with everything, and that's just the example of like these 5 songs that I've been creating with this album, See the Vision. But I think that's how my brand created. I was like, how do I take this thing that I am and take it to the extreme? And so now it has kind of become a purpose brand, but it definitely was on accident. It was just fully based off of creativity, what I see in my head, and my emotions that I feel.
Yeah,
literally
I love that. Do you have any advice for people who are maybe trying to brand themselves as a creative or on social media, etc.?
I always try to do a good job of, I think, sticking to the trends, but also putting my own TK twist on it.
Okay, I love that.
So I feel like a lot of people always say like don't pay attention to what other people do, but that really helped me, to be honest. Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of my influences gave me the confidence to brand myself. And like some things, I feel like when it comes to branding yourself too, you're trying to figure out like, oh, what's the coolest part of me? What's like the part that's like most brandable? Yeah. And a lot of the times that's not what you love about your favorite artist or your favorite actors. Or like the favorite people that you idolize, what do you love about them? If you pointed out your favorite actor, what would be your favorite thing about them? What do you feel like is their brand? And then kind of reflect that on yourself. Like it doesn't have to be the coolest thing about you. Right. Like I feel like maybe sometimes the fact that I'm a chameleon is the coolest thing about me, but I also feel like that's what I relate a lot to with other artists that I watched growing up and other actors that I watched growing up. I was always enticed by people that could sing, dance, and act. Yeah. So that's what became my brand, because I was like, that's what I love. That's what I feel like people love about me. So that's what I did. Yeah. And that's kind of become my brand. And a lot of times I like people who's, like, for example, Lady Gaga. Sometimes she can be a little too much for people. I love her. I love her brand. And so I kind of reflected on the fact that, like, okay, it kind of gave me the confidence to be someone that maybe not a lot of people can handle. Right. So I think that would be my advice, is obviously stay true to yourself. Your brand is you. Yes. But also reflect what you love about others and what you love about people that have influenced you. And maybe sometimes the answer is in that. Yeah. Because I do think a lot of how I've branded myself stems from what I was influenced by and what I gravitated towards. Yeah, I love that. I love too how you always are looking at other people with a mindset of inspiration rather than comparison, it sounds like. Yeah. So I'm curious, have you ever struggled with comparison? And when you do, how do you handle that? It's a really good question. Because that is always, it's again, kind of like the same answer to like the confidence thing.
Yeah.
Half full rather than half empty. I think I try when I do have a sense of feeling, again, insecure or competitive, I flip it back to like, okay, I feel competitive with this person for a reason. It's probably stemming from jealousy. So what about that, instead of being competitive, can inspire me? Like, I'll say this, which this is very vulnerable of me. I don't know if I say this. Tate McRae, for instance. Everyone was like posting her new music video because she can dance, sing, and she fucking slays.
Good at everything.
It's good at everything. And I watched her video and I was like, the first sense of myself was like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, as an artist, I was like, but then I was like, oh, I'm so inspired by her, though.
Yes, you flip it.
I'm so, like, I chose in that moment. That's not fair to yourself. Like, I should be able to enjoy this art like everyone else does. So if everyone's celebrating this person that you feel like, ugh, whatever. Like, I have an actor friend who sometimes gets really, like, hates actresses that she knows because she feels like they stole roles from her, which is totally understandable. Sometimes I feel that way. I'm like, ugh. They got their time right now and it took me from my time. Like, that's a very easy way of thinking in the industry. But you also have to think, like, you probably are jealous of them because there's something about them that you like.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
you know?
That's so good, Tori.
Like, there's something about them that might maybe inspire you. Like, I watched Tate McRae's video on repeat now because the first time it triggered me. And then the more I watch it, the more I'm like, ooh, okay. I pick it apart. There's things that I'm like, maybe I wouldn't do that. But there's things where I'm like, I get it why people like you.
Yeah.
And it also, the more I flipped it, I also took it from the side. I'm like, there's not a lot of artists who are bold enough to dance like that and sing at the same time. And the fact that people are loving her for it, I was like, maybe she's making way. She's walking so I can run, you know? So sometimes it is like a sense of manipulating yourself.
Yeah.
Same thing as the confidence of like, I initially sometimes feel that way, but I'm flipping it and not allowing myself to think that way.
No, I love that.
To where I have to look at it half full. So I definitely have compared myself, and that's an example of something that I've been like, oh.
Yeah, no, I love that. Similar, whenever something like triggers me, I always tell people, or like annoys me or I feel jealous, whatever, it's never that person's problem, it's a you problem. It sounds like that's exactly what it is. Like, you watch these people and you feel a little jealous and you're like, no, they're actually not doing anything wrong. Like, I'm just a jealous mofo, and I need to like, I do the same thing where it's like I'll have to reframe it in my brain and figure out, okay, why am I jealous of her? And then if I am jealous of this certain thing of her, how can I take what she's doing and maybe use it to inspire myself to do it, similar to what you were saying in the Tate situation.
It's full mindset, I think. But
It is,
everyone's human. Like, of course I deal with insecurities. Of course I deal with comparing myself. But I try to look at it half full.
Yeah. And reframe it.
More of a positive mindset of something that could benefit me. Because being competitive and being insecure is not... It's not doing nothing for me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't serve anybody.
And like you said, it's a me problem. So I chose to make my me problems a me solution. I'm so over it. Like, especially being in the industry as long as I have, like, I would be getting nowhere if I was jealous of everyone. Yeah. Like, I can't be.
You don't have time for that.
No.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of time, very practically, Tori Kay, how does she manage her time?
She doesn't.
Yeah.
She doesn't sleep. Yeah.
Do you have, like, practically, what do you use, like Google Calendar, anything like that? Do you keep lists, or do you literally just run and gun?
Because I told someone this the other day, and they were like, you're weird for that, which I do agree. The more I think about it, the more it doesn't make sense to me. But again, I feel like I've said that a lot. If I weren't me, I would be confused. I would think I'm cray-cray. But it's what works for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my notes app.
Okay.
My schedule is literally in my notes app. Like, the other two things I have to do today are in my notes app.
Apple Notes.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
I type a lot of stuff in there too.
Like, most people just put to-do lists, or they like jot down their little ideas, know my entire
you have, like,
schedule.
Okay, like 2 p.m.
Like,
podcast
if you ask
with
me what
Sophie.
I was,
Yeah, okay.
No, exactly, and then the address.
Okay.
If you asked me what I was doing 2 weeks from now, I would scroll down in that same notes doc, and I could tell you what I'm doing 2 weeks from now, and the exact time, the person I'm doing it with, and then the address.
Hey girl, whatever works. If it works, it works,
I don't know why. And also at the top of it is my to-do list.
Okay.
So also if I have free time within that day, I think that's why it's easy for me. If I have free time within that day, I go to that to-do list. I scroll up and go to that to-do list and think, cool, I have 5 minutes here, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, I have a show tomorrow, and it's been super, super helpful to be able to prepare for that show, to have it right there next to today. And then also, like, I have all the things I need to get done. So when I had, like, 10 minutes before I headed here, I was like, let me knock some of those things off of my to-do list today so I don't have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's less stress. Because I'm an extremely anxious person. Like, I wake up every day to 5 alarm clocks just because I'm stressed I'm not going to wake up.
Yeah.
And I go to the gym, and I probably have at least 50 alarm clocks a day along with that. So I would say notes app and alarm clocks. But do I think other humans should do that? No. I don't think so. But for some reason, it works for my brain. I'm also dealing with a lot with, like, therapy right now because I do think I experience a lot of burnout because of my anxiety.
Yeah.
And a lot of my anxiety actually stems from, like, makes me feel like I'm incapable of adulting. Like, for some reason, I can, like, write a song in 3 days, but the idea of going to a grocery store is, like, a lot for me. And I don't know if a lot of, like, other creatives feel that way. Like, is it easier for you to, like, knock out 3 self-tapes or to go to the grocery store? Like, it's just, like, my brain, for some reason, it's easier.
That's like, I do the things, but you're right. I do get very anxious and overwhelmed by adulting as well. I will say, I didn't know if it was like an age thing or a creative thing, or maybe it's both. Maybe we'll get, maybe we'll get better with time. But I know that's something I talk with my mom a lot about too, where it's like, even if my car needs a repair or like something like that, that stuff just like stresses me out so much. I know it's wild. We can do these crazy creative things, but
or like my dog like is getting old and she needs to start going to the vet more consistently. And like the amount of anxiety I get to just call the vet when I could literally perform in front of thousands of people.
I know.
I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is this, like, random anxiety? Like, the fact that I have to, like, order at a restaurant is, like, more anxious than me having to sit and do a podcast for an hour where I talk about myself and answer questions. Yeah. Like, why? I don't understand. So I'm working through it in therapy. But, that's kind of how I handle my time. I don't know if it's the best way.
No, I love it. I think whatever works for you. So whatever. You figured out what works
Alarm
for you.
Clocks and the notes app, man.
Okay.
That's about it. And maybe scroll on TikTok a bit. Just because sometimes I feel like when I think when I think in my head, oh my god, I'm busy, look at my schedule, I'm gonna go about my week, oh my god, I'm busy, look at my schedule. Yeah. But if I go about, like, today, for example, I could be really overwhelmed by the things that I have to do, but I'm like, oh my god, I get to go talk to Sophie, and then I get to go to this show, and then I get to go to that. It's things I get to do rather than, like, things I have to do. And it's all about mindset. Yeah. And so I think a lot of the times, too, there's a lot of things I could be doing with my week that I'm not happy about. Like, I'm taking my dog to the vet tomorrow, which I'm not super excited about.
You actually are tomorrow?
Yeah, I am. Hey, like, this is, like, these are all real problems. These are all real problems. I went to the grocery store on Monday after a dance class because I was like, this is the only time I'm going to be able to get myself to do this. This is the most zen I'm going to be. I have to go to the grocery. That's weird. It's weird. I'm 22. I should be able to freaking go to the grocery store without having a mental breakdown. She's in therapy. I promise. But, like, the idea of taking my dog to the vet tomorrow is not exciting, but I have a performance tomorrow. So I'm trying to look at tomorrow in a positive manner.
You get to take your dog to the vet, even though they're old.
I have the money to take my dog to the vet, and I'm pretty sure my dog's super healthy, and if I take her to the vet, then I'm probably going to get some good feedback, and she's only 8. So even though she's getting old, she needs to start having more vet appointments. Also, she's only 8, so she has a lot of life to live.
And also, once you get it done, it's done and over. That's
and then I can perform. So, I think a lot of things that I go about my life, because people always have that same feedback of, like, oh my god, you're busy, you do so many different things. I try to not look at it that way as much as possible, because I think really words mean a lot. And if I'm constantly thinking, oh my god, I'm busy, oh my god, I'm stressed out, oh my god, I have so much to do, oh my god, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm gonna feel that way. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Mind over matter. I feel like everything she's saying is coming back to your mind.
It really is.
It's
all
true.
The same. Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe, I don't know. My brain just kind of, I feel like every question you're asking me is going back to the same formula, but that's really
I love
how
it. That's
I survive it out here.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, we are coming to our close here. So we have one final segment called the Fast Frisky 5. It's 5 rapid fire questions that require a lot of thought. If you've seen episodes, you've probably seen this part.
I've been looking. I prepared myself.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the questions are going to be, but I prepared myself for being rapid.
Favorite quote?
Probably my childhood quote that I came up with. I hate the fact that my favorite quote. Now that I said that, I hate the fact that my favorite quote is something I made up. I feel like it should be a celebrity or something.
Fine.
But it's just something I live by. I'm not wishing on a star, I'm chasing it. So, yes, I manifest. Yes, you can pray and do all those different things. But also, at the end of the day, hard work is what's going to give you results. So, I'm not wishing on a star, I'm chasing it. Like, I'm going to make my dreams happen. Yeah. No matter what. Mm-hmm. So, that's always been my favorite quote.
I love that. What is something in LA you love that not a lot of people know about?
That I love? I feel like a lot of people, it's so funny, like moving from Texas, my entire family was always like, oh, you're just moving to the world where like it's just all actors and all industry and all chaos and drama and all pop culture, and it's really not. Like the more that I've lived here, when I first moved out here, definitely. Now that I've been out here 6 years, I'm like, randomly I was at the gym the other day and this guy walked up to me and I was like, I do like a 5-minute plank every day. And he walked up to me and we had a whole...
Okay.
Thank you. I did want to slightly flex there. The end of my workout is always a 5-minute plank. And so this guy was sitting next to me, like, stretching, and he turned to me. We ended up having this whole conversation about, like, travel. And he does, like, a random job. I honestly couldn't remember what he did. But I was like, I wish people back home and outside of LA could experience the beautiful people that aren't in the industry. Like, yes, there's beautiful people in the industry, but I think a lot of people look at LA and think entertainment, which is definitely true, but there's so many beautiful people and so many things to do out here, and people are just happy to be in California, and the beach and the ocean,
right?
And there's a world outside of it.
There are normal people here.
There's normal people here,
yeah.
And I wish people knew that. And honestly, I think what's kept me out in LA is like those really wholesome interactions that I've had, of just like learning about people. And even sometimes when I go to networking events, like some people just have regular jobs and they're cool, you know, like I don't know, LA, I wish, that's something I love about LA that I didn't expect and I wish more people knew. Like it's still a normal state. It's gonna be normal people. They're also really cool. I randomly was at I was actually, weirdly enough, at one of my friend's music video releases, and like it was part of like this hotel, so I had like a drink at the bar with my mom at the hotel, and obviously that was like separate from the music video release. So although I was there for the industry, I was like a part of random people, and the guy sitting at the bar was like randomly headed to India for a whole 2 years the next day.
Okay. Oh.
And I was like, this is so interesting. Like, I feel like I run into the most fascinating people here. And it has nothing to do with the entertainment industry. And they're so cool, and they're so passionate, and they're doing really cool things. So anyways, I feel like that's what I wish people knew more.
No, I love that.
It's a melting pot.
It is, And everybody comes here for a dream, and it's not always entertainment, but I feel like everybody comes here for something. Everybody comes here.
Or sometimes it's just an in-between phase. Like, at some point, all people at some point want to live in LA for the most part. So it's also cool to meet people who are just like, oh, I'm just here because I love LA. Like, how many places can you go where they're like, oh, I'm here just because I genuinely love being here? It's not specifically for their career choice.
Probably not in Texas. You might not find that. Definitely not in Michigan, where I'm from.
They're not many people. Some people move to Texas for real estate.
It's true. It is kind of
I don't think they're moving there for the beaches, though. I didn't live there for the beaches.
Do you have a favorite line in a movie that comes to mind?
I'm not a big movie person.
Okay.
I'm a big show person.
Okay.
But I will say, I don't know why, maybe just, like, the first thing that I thought of was Mean Girls, because Mean Girls just came out, and, like, I feel like all of that, like, Legally Blonde, Mean Girls, I feel like this is so stereotypical, maybe you'll relate, like, I feel like it's given so much, like, iconic to blonde women, so a lot of the things that I say, I feel like really, like, Legally Blonde really gave, like, blonde women their moment, especially Barbie, too. Like, I don't know a specific quote from Barbie, but I feel like I resonated with a lot of those movies. So there's probably quotes from those movies where I'm like, I feel that. Probably primarily Barbie. Barbie's one of my favorite movies right now.
I liked the whole message, too, about just, like...
The monologue is amazing.
Yeah, the monologue about, like, being a female. And it also talked a lot about growing up and, like, the Billie Eilish song and stuff like that.
So good. So probably my favorite quote would be from one of those movies that I feel like is just so... gives women major empowerment. And it's just such a, like, men don't watch that movie. Like, it's for the female audience.
It is.
My quotes come from there.
It is. Pickles, yay or nay?
Pickles, yes.
That
was my random breakfast.
I know, when you said that, I was like, ooh, funny, full circle.
Absolutely, I think more people should like pickles. If you don't like pickles, I don't know. There's something wrong with you, possibly. I'm not going to self-diagnose you.
What is a recent obsession of yours?
Ooh, at the beginning of this year, I took a pottery class.
Okay, queen.
Yeah, so I think...
Pottery.
Yeah, I think pottery might be a new obsession of mine. I want to take I really want to get into pole dancing this year. Okay. That's a skill I really want to have just because it's something I want to add to my shows. Like, I'm just picturing, like, my first Grammy performance, I want to be able to do a pole dance break. I just think that'd be really slay.
No, that's cool.
So my newest obsession... My obsession soon is going to be pole dancing because I'm determined to be good at it.
I feel like it'll be easy for you because you already dance and you've done like aerial and gymnastics and stuff.
I thought that way about guitar because I knew how to play piano, and I was very, very wrong about that.
Okay.
I got through like 3 lessons.
We'll see.
And I was like, this is not for me. So I'm really hoping that. And
Yeah.
I've done silks and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that I'm good at it.
I
but
took a pole dancing class once.
Did you?
Fun fact. Yeah.
Did you like
I
it?
used to work for a famous YouTuber and we did it as a like bonding thing as a production team. I did like it. I like wasn't very good at it and I have no upper body strength, so that's what a lot of it is, upper body
It
strength.
is.
Like the chick
I
was
wanna
like
be ripped.
hanging on. No, you really
I
are.
want to be ripped.
I was like shocked at how hard it was. But yeah, it's so funny. The guys in our group were better than us girls because of the amount of upper body
Yeah.
strength it took.
Yeah. I feel like the flexibility is kind of on top of that, like a little
Yeah.
bit. Like people think, because I think they just see like people in splits and stuff, like the
Mhm.
girls slaying and all that, but it is the upper body.
Yeah.
Like, it takes way more strength than you would think. So
Mhm.
there's a bit, like you just said, I don't think I have the most upper body strength either.
But after,
So-
we'll see.
My soon-to-be obsession
Pole dancing.
is pole dancing.
Love it, okay.
I'm just really manifesting that I'm
Maybe we'll have to
decent
have
at
her
it.
back later
I
on
don't
this
get
year or
it.
next year, and
I'll
she'll be
teach a pole
jacked.
class.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
you'll
you're
be
gonna-
jacked
I'm
when you
gonna-
come back.
What
yeah.
persona is that gonna be? I'm gonna have a new
I know.
name for like that built bitch. I don't know what her name's gonna be.
You know, we'll
I
figure
don't
it
know.
out.
Maybe like toned. I don't know, toned Tori or
Toned.
something.
Love it.
I'm trying to
TT.
think. Yeah, I don't know.
I love it. Okay.
They all have
Is
dumb
there
names.
anything you want to leave our acting like an actor viewers with? Anything you want to say to them? To
Not
inspire?
really. I feel like a lot of what I would usually end with, I've said in this.
Yeah,
Like on
you
mindset.
have.
Mindset is everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you can, you can. And also,
Yeah.
even if you feel like you're overwhelming, you're not going to be overwhelming to the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to be careful with how much I've said that too. Like, because I feel like I have a hint of like always being like, I'm super overwhelming to people. But I'm not overwhelming. I can be overwhelming to myself, but like to the right people, they'll look at it more exciting than overwhelming. So I think
Yeah.
a lot of the times it has to be perspective. It's all perspective on
Mhm.
life. And that's like the biggest thing I can leave with people. I
Yeah.
think it's really the only thing that's gotten me through my whole life, especially being in the industry. So that's
Yeah.
all I got,
No, I love
honestly.
that. Perspective is everything.
Half glass full.
Mm-hmm.
Glass half full. I didn't say that correctly. Glass half full.
Glass half full.
I probably didn't speak English this entire podcast, so my apologies.
It's fun. It's
I
funny,
speak
like-
better English in my music, I promise.
Okay. She's a singer, not a professional.
I mean,
talker.
you would think if I was a singer I'd be able to speak, but that's not the case here.
We'll just have you sing every line.
The
you
only
have
word
to
I can say right is slay. Let's just be honest.
Slay. All right. Well, on that note, slay. We'll see you guys next week.